Imagine a cutting-edge submersible, a crew of explorers, a couple of billionaires, and a mission to see the most famous shipwreck in history. But what started as the ultimate adventure deep into the abyss, well, it turned into a global mystery that had all of us holding our breath.
On June 18, 2023, 5 people started their journey down to the Titanic, and then they were just gone, vanished. The question on everyone's mind was simple: what happened? But the answer, as we'd soon find out, was terrifyingly complex. And to really get it, we have to go to the bottom of the ocean.
Okay, so first, you have to understand just where this happened. We are talking about a depth of 3,800 meters. That's almost 4 kilometers straight down. It's a place of total darkness, and the pressure, it's absolutely crushing, almost impossible to even imagine. So it all kicked off on a Sunday. The 5 passengers got into the Titan submersible and started their descent. Their goal? To see the hauntingly beautiful wreck of the RMS Titanic with their own eyes. Now, this submersible was supposed to send a signal, a little ping, back to its support ship every 15 minutes, like clockwork. But then, about an hour and 45 minutes into the dive, the pings just stopped. The Titan went completely silent. And here is the truly chilling part. Their last known location, that final signal, placed them directly above their destination. They were right there, at the very shipwreck they had traveled so far and paid so much to see. They were at the finish line when they disappeared. With the sub completely off the grid, a terrifying reality began to sink in. This wasn't just some communications glitch anymore. This was a full-blown rescue mission. And the clock was ticking, kicking off a massive international response. This one number, 96 hours, suddenly became the focus of the entire world. That was the best guess for how much breathable air was sealed inside that vessel. Just 4 days to find a tiny sub in a huge, deep ocean before it was too late. So, who was on board? It was quite a mix. There was Pakistani billionaire Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, also British billionaire Hamish Harding, the legendary French explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet, and, get this, Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, the very company that built the Titan. Now, this was not a cheap trip. Each passenger paid $250,000 for their seat. For that kind of money, you'd expect the most advanced, safest technology on the planet, right? But as details started to come out, a very different story began to take shape. As the search got more intense, so did the questions about the Titan itself. People all over the world started looking into its design, its safety record, and some of the, let's say, unconventional choices made when it was built. See, the Titan was what you'd call an experimental craft. It was designed by OceanGate to take tourists to one of the most extreme environments on Earth, a frontier that very, very few people have ever seen for themselves. On paper, the specs seemed pretty solid. It had a hull made of carbon fiber, which is strong and lightweight. It could hold 5 people, and its max depth was just a little deeper than the Titanic. But that carbon fiber hull, that would become a huge point of debate. But this is the detail that just went viral and left pretty much everyone speechless. The sub was piloted with a modified video game controller. Yep, an Xbox controller was steering this thing in one of the most hostile places on our planet. Now, to be fair, the risks were not a secret. The sub was experimental, it wasn't certified by any official agency, and the waiver passengers had to sign, it apparently mentioned the word death 3 times on the very first page. They absolutely knew the danger they were in. So even with all these troubling questions popping up, the search went on. And for a brief, hopeful moment, it really seems like there might be a miracle, a sign of life coming from that crushing darkness. The sheer scale of this operation was just immense. They were scanning an area of the ocean bigger than some countries, using everything: planes, ships, deep-sea robots. It was literally a search for a needle in a haystack, thousands of meters under the waves. At this point, rescuers were working with 3 main ideas. The best-case scenario, the sub had surfaced and was just lost somewhere in the Atlantic. Another possibility, it was stuck on the seafloor, maybe tangled in the Titanic's wreckage. And then there was the worst-case scenario, a catastrophic failure. And then, a breakthrough. On Wednesday, just as oxygen levels were getting critically low, a Canadian search plane picked up rhythmic banging sounds, a structured noise happening every 30 minutes. That sounded like a sign of life, like the crew was signaling for help. Hope just surged across the globe. But that incredible hope was completely shattered. Just as that 96-hour window was closing, the search came to a sudden, heartbreaking end. The mystery was finally solved. On Thursday, a remote-controlled vehicle found what everyone had been dreading, a debris field on the ocean floor only a few hundred meters from the bow of the Titanic. The Titan had been found, but not in one piece.
The official cause of a disaster was a catastrophic implosion. So, what does that actually mean? Well, it's not an explosion. Think of it as its violent, instantaneous opposite.
Okay, look at it this way. An explosion pushes energy out. An implosion is the complete opposite. It's when an overwhelming external force pushes in. In this case, the unbelievable pressure of the ocean crushed the sub's hull in a fraction of a millisecond. It was over before the people inside could even realize what was happening.
To try and put that pressure into perspective, the force down there is hundreds of times greater than what we feel up here. It's like having tons of weight pushing down on every single square inch of your body. An event like that is not survivable.
The story of the Titan is just a modern tragedy. It's this stark reminder of the raw power of nature and that razor-thin line between being a pioneer and taking a fatal gamble. And it leaves all of us with a really tough question. In our push to explore the unknown, how do we ever decide when a risk is simply too great?